The following will be a brief summary of whole steps, half steps, and how to use them to build intervals. So to review, a half step is defined as any two notes directly adjacent to one another. That is to say, any two notes right next to each other with nothing in between. For example, B and C. Another example, C and C sharp. There's nothing in between them. They can be black and white or white and white. There are no two black notes, however, that are right next to each other, so there's no two black notes that create a half step. Now, a whole step is two notes that have a note in between them. Effectively, it is two half steps added together. In between, you have a note. C, D has this C sharp or D flat in between them. Likewise, B to C sharp has that note in between it. You have a C natural in between B and C sharp. So just like with half steps, don't worry about the colors of the notes. Any two notes, regardless of color, can be a whole step apart, provided that there is one, exactly one, note in between them. So, how can we use this to build intervals? So in order to use this measurement to build intervals, what we do is we have to choose a root. In an interval, you have two notes. That's what an interval is, any two notes. They can be right next to each other, or they can be right on opposite ends of the keyboard. It really doesn't matter, just any two notes at the same time. The interval we'll be learning today is called the major third. It sounds like that. So in order to build an interval, first you need to look at, like I said, the root. So the root of an interval is the bottom note, the leftmost one, the lowest note. That's called the root. So you first identify the root. You can choose any note on the keyboard and make that the root of your major third. And once you're there, you are going to use half steps to build on top of it to get a certain distance away in order to build the actual interval. So each interval is going to have a different measurement of how far apart the two notes are, right? You have a little one or a big one. The major third has a measurement of +4 half steps. So you count it like this. You don't count the root, and you count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That right there is a major third. And like I said with the root, it's very important to know what it is because that is going to give you the name of your interval. So the root of this interval is a C. Therefore, it is a C major third. The reason it's called a major third is because that's the pattern that we went up by. We went up by +4. So when you hear major third, think +4 because that's how you build them no matter where you are. So let's go ahead and try building them somewhere else. Let's start on D. And likewise, we start on D, that's our root, and we build up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that right there is your D major interval. Notice that we played a black note. This is, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't matter if they're white or black, you just add half steps. And adjacent notes are adjacent regardless of color. So that's how you build intervals. That's how you build major thirds. Let's try one last one as an example. Let's start on the root of F. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have your F major third. All right, I hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, let me know.